Hello everyone, this is Mac here and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel which is called Mac Vlogs. Good afternoon everyone sitting in Dubai and in Pakistan. Basically it's just a 1 hour difference from Dubai and Pakistan. Dubai is just 1 hour behind Pakistan standard time. So we had to rush Mr. Samir Geepee, the guest of mine on Mac Vlogs. He has been rushing and the traffic in Dubai is different and in Asia it's different for sure because the laws are followed over there but not over here. But ultimately I was on time here so and I was waiting for him and so let us begin by welcoming my guest for this afternoon, Mr. Samir Geepee. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mike, for having me. My apologies for being 10 minutes behind time, but happy to be here.
I think some technicalities and some issues in our life are we have to bear with it. So before we proceed with Mr. Samir, I just want my audience and his audience and followers around the world to know who is Mr. Samir Geepee. He's a very professional speaker and a very confident speaker, the conversationalist based in Dubai. He's an NLP practitioner. He's a leadership coach. He's a certified career coach. He's a parent coach. He's a teenage coach. He's a sales coach and a corporate trainer and many, many more, you know, best things he is. So we're going to be learning from him and connecting him to the world out there. So, Mr. Samir, please go ahead and express yourself so that we know who you are. I know who you are, but not the people. So, please go ahead and then we'll make it enjoyable today.
Wonderful. No, thank you very much, Mac. And if you ask who am I am someone who is constantly trying to explore, uh, constantly trying to see what is out there that I can learn from, who is it that I can learn from, and what can I share with the world. That is who I basically am, is a person who's on a constant quest to be better and to help others be better in the journey.
hmm
Yep.
Well, so how can we understand? So, as I mentioned, that you are certified in so many positions and, coaches and NLP leadership. These are really amazing things to understand what a common person might not understand. So, if you can explain in terms of the mindset to change the mindsets of the audience and the people, that how you proceed in Dubai by connecting with the audience live, to change their mindsets.
So think about breathing, for example, right? You've been breathing from the time you're born. And you don't think about breathing until and unless you go for a yoga class or you go and learn something somewhere. Think about walking, for example. If you ask anyone, can you walk? They will say, yes, I can walk. Of course, I can walk. It's not a big deal. But you ask them to walk on a rope, that's a completely different kind of a walking. If you tie that rope between two buildings and you ask them to walk, that's a completely, again, a different kind of walking. So there's always areas where you can keep growing and getting better. And you will do that in any area of life only when you focus on that area. Now, I started focusing on leadership. I started focusing on children. I started focusing on sales. And when I started focusing on these things, I saw that there are so many layers to all of these things that is not evident to the naked eye or to the layman or to someone who is not uh, focused on those areas. For example, parenting. We have kids and then we start raising them, and we don't read books about parenting. We don't attend workshops about parenting. We don't understand how parenting has to be different. So, anything and everything that you want to get better at, the question is, are we educating ourselves? Or if you're not doing it, then are we working with people who are experts in those areas?
Can the leadership qualities be in a student, in a child, in an adult, in a parent, in a teacher, or even in a common person? How do you see the leadership qualities in a particular person or a personality which can help him to be empowered and come forward, to express himself?
So, if you think about leadership, leadership is about persuasion, right? It's about getting people to do what you want them to do. And I
Hmm.
think one of the best leaders are babies. They get you to
Okay.
do what they want you to do, take care of them, feed them, make them happy, keep them smiling, etc. They do that. As you start growing older, parents shut down these a few of these leadership qualities by trying to dominate them, by trying to dominate their conversations, by trying to dominate on how they express themselves. And in this pursuit, what happens is a few of the persuasion skills gets dormant. Now everybody has leadership skills, everybody has different kinds of leadership skills. Not every leader is the same kind of a leader. If you look at Hitler, he is one kind of a leader. Musharraf is another kind of leader. Imran Khan is another kind of leader. If you look at uh, cricket players, they're leaders in every genre of life, not only in organizations, not only in corporates. Wherever you go to a school, there is house captains. There is now these are there are different skills within leadership that you build, and that is mostly communication. It dominantly is about communication, and that is where I used to do similar things like what you're doing, and I used to have conversations, and I realized, wow, conversations are amazing. And then I realized, just like breathing, we don't focus on conversations. It's not
Hmm.
about what is being said, it's that how it is being said. And the moment we look at any conversation, there are 5, 10, 15, 20 unlimited number of ways you can respond to a question. Maybe how are
Hmm.
you picking one particular answer? How are you picking how to respond? And that mindfulness is what made me realize conversations is something that has to be explored and learned from as well. So leadership and conversation or communication go hand in hand. You cannot be a leader if you're not a good communicator. And if you have become a good communicator, then you have the chances of being a leader. And leader is not about titles. It's about, are you having people who are following you? Are you having people who are looking up to you? Are you having people who take your lead and do things based on what you say?
What? How do you define this word which you have mentioned with before the speaker, which is called converse, conversationalist? What does exactly this means, and how can the audience relate to this word which you have used in your what do you call bio? To someone to connect with you with that word. What
So
exactly that means?
a conversationalist, according to me, is someone who is a facilitator of conversations, just like you are right now. You're facilitating a conversation over here. So you are a conversationalist as well. A
Oh,
conversationalist
okay.
is someone
Wow.
a conversationalist is
That's
someone
really
who
nice.
actually is someone who is willing to listen, ask interesting questions, and is mindful about conversation, is mindful about being in a space, creating a space for having better conversations. So, if you start calling yourself a conversationalist, you'll start asking yourself questions like, could I ask a better question? Is there a better way to ask? Is there a better way to bring out the stories from my guests? What can I do differently? How can I set the conversation in a more meaningful manner?
How to initiate a
How can
conversation is also one of the ways, to ask questions, I guess, right?
Yes. So conversation is not about talking. Conversation is about
Okay.
creating that space where you listen and you engage and do everything.
Well, I have what do you call interviewed or about lots of coaches, life coaches and NLP coaches and stuff. But this is something really different and really admiring. This word which you just used, conversationalist. Basically, no one ever told me earlier.
Mhm.
I'm something. You have defined it in a different way, actually, as a coach and as a leader. That this word can be used by some of the people who wants to connect with them or with the audience. Conversation can be of by done by anybody, and I think it's done by common people, right?
It's done by everyone. The moment you are mindful about conversations, go ahead and call yourself a conversationalist. It's not like the government or some body has to give you the title. What you're telling to the world is, when you're using the title, that you're mindful about conversations. Not only the things that you tell other people, but also the things you tell yourself. And the moment we realize everything in our life is based on the conversations we have, with other people and with ourselves, we'll see our success, and everything that we have in our life comes from there. So if we
Uh-huh.
improve the quality of our conversations, we can improve the quality of our life.
Well, I was going through your bio, the profile which you shared with me. I have a question in that. How many leaders do you think that can be created in this environment so that we know that they are going to be the future leaders? So, do you do leadership program as well for different sectors like corporates, for schools, for colleges, universities, where we get the initially the leaders are coming from the school to the college, then to the life which they start after college, right? So, have you ever prepared any leadership program which you feel that it can be very beneficial to the people out there?
So I have created programs for students, for children, and also for adults in terms of leadership. And to answer your question, how many leaders? If there are 8 billion people in the world, all 8 billion can be leaders. Leadership is a mindset. It's not a title, again, I say. It's a mindset, and every one of us can develop that.
So,
And every
any
one
public,
of us,
sorry for that, any public speaker or any confident person can be called a leader?
a leader is someone who has followers. If you have no followers, then how are you a leader?
Okay.
Right? So, do you have people? So, are you creating or doing something whereby there are people who are following you? The moment you have a follower, you are a leader. Even if one person is following you, you are a leader. It doesn't matter. So, as a parent, usually every parent is a leader if they have their children following them. The question is, are you a good leader or a bad leader? Right?
Mm,
And that is where the distinction is. And if you want to become a good leader and a better leader and the best leader that can be out there, then you have to educate yourself on leadership. You have to educate yourself on conversations. You have to educate yourself on how to have better conversations and build on the communication skills.
I see. So I think the communication skill and the leadership are two different courses or different methods of finding yourself. Am I right?
It is a part of the journey, yes, of self discovery, self exploration, and asking ourselves. And the moment we are outward driven, which means we want to help build a better community, better society, better company, better organization, then if those intentions are there, it is wise to focus on developing leadership skills. And leadership skills can be developed only when we go out there and help other people, go out there and impact other people, go out there and do something for others, not for ourselves, but for others.
Are you willingly and ready to offer online leadership or the other courses for the people sitting in India, Pakistan, Asia, or anywhere around different countries who can't have a set of what do you call a classroom basically because you're in Dubai and everybody who might connect with you would like to learn and reform themselves. So are you willing to do that online or you're currently doing that?
So that has been the gift of COVID, right? The gift of COVID has been that we are able to do these interview right now online. You're sitting in Pakistan, I'm sitting in Dubai, and we're connecting. Before COVID, I used to do these interviews, which was live in person, where people used to come sit in a room together, and we used to do
Mhm.
live in person interviews. And until COVID, I was thinking I cannot do coaching and I cannot do training or leadership or mentoring or any of those stuff online. I need to be there physically with the person to feel the energy. But COVID forced me
But
to.
but because of COVID, a lot of people have gone back to the drawing rooms to understand that how they can be online. These Zoom classes and everything which was happening during the COVID time. So I think it's better to connect with the person sitting in other parts of the countries, or the cities to take the best use out of it. Now it can save your travel time as well.
Absolutely. So 80% of my clients are online right now. And even when I work with organizations and teams in terms of leadership and communication on trainings, they're done online. And the benefit to the organization is they could have members sitting some at home, some in the office, some in another country, and they are all able to come together for the training at the same time at the same venue, which is online.
Hmm.
So the gift of online is you are able to bring people together no matter where they are and conduct programs. So yeah, I've been doing that and I continue to do it, and I see there is immense power in doing those things because transformation happens not in the physical space but in the mind. It happens over here. And if our way of thinking changes, our life will change, our way of results will change, everything will change.
So, what response are you getting currently in Dubai, being a Dubai resident for quite some time? And, are people approaching you, or you have to approach them for the stuff which you do?
So that's a very good question. And there are a lot of people who have been asking me, how do you get clients? And I say, I don't go looking for clients. Clients come looking for me. And how do we do that is by adding value. So I have an event, done a lot of trainings and workshops and public events where people are able to come for free and attend sometimes these sessions. I also have a program which is called Turning Point, which happens every Monday evening. And this is again a free to attend Zoom session where people come to see or have exploration about how to overcome obstacles in their life. And any obstacle, any challenge is taken in for a conversation, and they get to experience what a coaching looks like, what uh, transformation looks like, and how thinking can change over a period of a conversation. And that's why I call it turning point, because in the space of a conversation you could have your turning point in life. And if you look at every turning point in your life, it would be because of somebody said something, or you said something to yourself. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to live like this anymore. Or, so you have created your life in a moment because of a decision that you took, because of a thought that has been had, or because of a conversation you had with someone. And I say it could be the next conversation that you have with me, which could be the turning point in your life. So come along and have these conversations.
Sure. So, what are your future plans and goals, and where do we see Samir Geepee going from here onwards?
The plan is have no plans.
Wow, that's amazing. Basically, the
So
God's
to be
plans are the
fluid,
best plans rather than the human plans, I would say.
yeah. So it should be fluid and to be in the moment all the time, and to see there are definitely certain plans of where I want to go, but uh, the biggest plan is to be in the moment. The biggest plan is to see what is coming up in each and every situation and seeing, uh, can I do this better? If I do this better, what would that look like? Is there something that I could do which could uh, expand my reach of how I can serve people and how I can help people and how I can support people? So it's really about reaching out to more and more people and seeing how that work can impact. Or and I see a lot of people who are going through depression, anxiety, or suicide tendencies. And at Turning Point we have had a lot of these conversations, and there are people who have come back and said, you have saved my relationship from this, you have saved myself from this, I feel lighter because of the conversation that I've had. So what you're doing, Mac, is amazing, because conversations, it could be somebody who is listening to one line that is said in one of your interviews that could be life changing for them.
I
And for you, it
agree.
was
I
just
agree.
asking a few questions, but for them, it is their entire life going in a different direction because somebody said something in one of the vlogs by Mac.
I
And
totally
that is
agree.
the
I
power.
totally agree.
And we have no
That
control over this. We have no control over how people will take the information that we share with the world.
sometimes the certain moments, really changes the life of a common person.
Everybody is a common person. It's just that ordinary people become extraordinary because of the extraordinary effort they put into ordinary things. Not because of extraordinary things they do, but how they put extraordinary effort into ordinary things. And right now what we're doing is just a very ordinary thing, have a conversation, but doing it consistently, building a followers, building an audience base, and growing that and impacting more life. That's what
Well,
is
I
extraordinary.
well, I believe, Mr. Samir, that nowadays it's a matter of fact that everyone wants to increase their followers, their viewing on their different platforms and all. I think that shouldn't be this benchmark. Actually, it should be more about the content. They're more about the, enjoying the process and the journey. But nowadays it's become a race who has more followers, who has more connections, who has more, you know, looking at the social media, publicities and stuff. So I think it should be more about the process, more enjoying the journey of each others.
And why are you choosing that? Why are you saying quality over quantity?
Sorry?
And why do you say quality is better than quantity?
Well, why we say that is basically because the quality is the exactly the benchmark where someone wants to be connected. The quantity is what everyone is doing now.
Hmm.
Well, if I have 1 million subscribers, for instance, right? So people will follow me only because of that quantity of people behind me, not
Hmm.
because of the quality of work I have done.
Okay.
Okay, this what my mindset never accepts the fact that it shouldn't be about the quantity, it should be about the quality, as you're mentioning now. So the quality should be the content, and the quantity should be the followers.
Yes, very true. And I say that quantity will be a byproduct. It's not what we have to focus on. Quality is what we focus on. The byproduct will happen by itself if it is good.
Yeah, but this world, who has more followers, they go behind them.
Yeah.
And people who are doing a good work, they are being left behind. There was an instant story. It happened in Pakistan, actually. I'm just sharing with you. A person who got 29 gold medals, okay, and that's related to a profession where he cleared some exams and stuff. Just because he didn't have the followers, or just because he was not that, I wouldn't say confident, but I would say that he didn't have the way that people can go and talk to him and understand his journey. He wasn't being invited, for the podcast or for the interview, so that even the young generation can learn from him. How did he acquire those 29 gold medals in becoming a master or a PhD? But a person, if you see of a TikTok, I'm sure these generation, the TikTokers are making millions and millions of videos, and they are not of any such content which can be followed. But then people are running behind them. It's really different mindsets. How would you
Yeah.
change the mindsets of people like these?
Uh, we don't have to really focus on changing the mindset of people, because where I come from, I see if somebody wants to change, they will change. If they don't want to change, they're not going to change.
I
The
see.
desire has to come from within them. So the least that we can do is put out good work and attract the right kind of audience. And when things have to change, things will change. If they won't change, like you earlier said, God's plans are better than ours. So if we focus on seeing how we can change
No,
everybody,
but the fact is, Mr. Samir, that the leaders like you, or people outside are sitting, with the leadership qualities, if they can't change the mindset of the people, then they are wasting their time of you and all the people out there. So I think you are in that position to change the mindsets of the people.
yes, we are in a position if they are willing. If they are not willing, there's nothing that we can do. So the willingness is something that is from within them. So we can only be responsible for what we do. We can't be responsible for the results of somebody else's, correct?
So if somebody is going through, because as you are an NLP coach, like the life coach as well, right? And you're a practitioner, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody is going through the trauma, and what lots of people have went through depression and anxiety as well after COVID, post COVID. So what role did you play at that time and till now in solving lots of people's anxiety and depression issues to come out of it and feel confident again?
So anxiety, depression, all these things are heavy words, and there's a lot of elements or factors that are connected to this. It's not just because of one thing or another thing that these kind of things happen. There's a lot of social context that is out there. There's a lot of actions and behaviors that is out there which actually influences these kind of outcomes in a person. But where it can all begin is by helping them process their own thoughts, helping them process what they're going through and how they go through these things. I remember I was having this conversation with one of my clients back in uh, about, uh, I think about 5 6 months back, and he was saying this is the very first time that I'm able to process, because his father also had depression and he also had depression, and he is like, it runs in the family, so I will have it. And this was the mindset that he was having, that it's hereditary and I will have it.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute he started figuring out things are different and I can have a better quality of life because I'm understanding the modalities and I'm understanding what has caused this for me, he's got the ability to assess and ask himself what needs to change within his present condition. And this
Mm-hmm.
is just one example, but it begins with one person at a time. It doesn't begin with hundreds or thousands.
I
So
see.
when I go and engage with people, like for example, these kind of interviews, it doesn't matter if there are hundreds, thousand, million followers. Even if one person is impacted, even if one person is saved from depression, even if one person is saved from suicidal tendencies, and I've had so many of these where they have actually turned things around. Because what I say is, in any area of life, what we are looking for is to have confidence, and confidence is what you get when you have repeated positive self evidence, right? You create evidences for yourself in any area of life, and when you have multiple one of those, then what happens is you build your own confidence. And confidence is anything. It can be in public speaking, it can be in dealing with um, bullying, or some other situation in school or at home. Uh, it is about having the voice to actually express yourself, and then not to hide behind a curtain, and to be able to be yourself. And as long as we are able to support that journey of someone going through whatever it is that they're going through, then we are allowing people to be more self-expressive,
I
more
think
self.
being an expert yourself, your family might be very easy and they will find very comfortable in coming up to you, whether it's your wife or your kids, if they're going through a certain, you know, issues in expressing themselves or to open up with maybe from school, from studies, or maybe or daily life of your wife, and also they can come to you and you can definitely help them out as well. Am I right? Does
Oddly
that
it
happen?
is oddly it is not necessarily the case, because uh, I've known people, and I'm saying, not to generalize this, there are people who are psychologists who are experts, but they would
Mhm.
have problems at home. Now every conversation you have, you bring in the baggage of experience into that relationship and into that conversation.
Mhm.
So so in relationships that are very close, it's actually more difficult to deal with situations. There is a question that uh, a client of mine asked: how can I be a coach to my son? How can I be a psychologist or a therapist to my son? And it's not possible to be to your own relation, because you have a different role to play. So when you are a
But for a
psychologist.
moment, you have to leave your fatherhood role to become a friend or a buddy to your son to solve his issue. Will he be able to open up with you, or he will think that you're his father? That's why he won't open up. Will that happen?
So, if we are regularly doing this and having better conversations where there is more open communication, more open channels that are created for conversations, definitely yes. It doesn't happen in an instant. Just this morning, I attended an interview where one of the leading psychologists in Dubai was giving a talk, and she was sharing how there are best practices that she adopts. But at the same
Hmm.
time, even for people like us who are in the profession, can go down the slippery road, because there will be decisions that we'll take emotion based. Sometimes there will be decisions that we'll take logical based, where we will uh, put on a certain different hat, and we'll know it's not like we cannot make mistakes. We're human, no matter who we are, right? So When parents are being approached by their children and being asked questions, we will have to work and identify which hat am I wearing today. Am I wearing that of a coach? Am I wearing that of a mentor, an NLP practitioner, or as a father? And kids basically, and families usually will say, stop being a coach to me, stop coaching me, and stop, just be a father. Friends do this all the time. When I'm having a conversation with them, they are like, stop being a coach with me, just be my friend, don't ask me so many questions. And they don't want that. So it's difficult for us to detach from the role sometimes.
Mhm.
But yeah, yes, of course, our family can always approach us, and they have the gift of having this information that they know someone who's dived deeper into the subject is the one who's advising them, and therefore it'll be easier for them to deal with circumstances and scenarios.
If we have an open debate in auditorium where one side we have a psychologist and one side we have a coach, life coach, what type of questions you will be hearing from the audience coming towards the psychologist or to the life coach, and how will and who would I mean the audience would be more inclined or engaged with psychologist more or a life coach more?
So it depends on what we're dealing with, correct? If you are dealing with trauma, anxiety disorders, and all that stuff, a psychologist is a better person to go to. If you're looking to set goals for yourself, if you want to become who you are, uh, so what I say as a clear distinction is, psychology is someone who helps you resolve your past. A coach is someone who helps you define your future.
I see.
So it depends on what are you bringing into the conversation, where is it that you want to stand in your journey. And the moment you're clear about, I'm doing this so that I can get ahead, then it's better to go to a coach. But sometimes before you go to a coach, there are so many things that you need to resolve about yourself, and therefore you might have to go to a psychologist. And sometimes coaches can do what a psychologist does, psychologists can do what a coach does. It's just a matter of uh, how deep you want to go, and what is it that you want to resolve, and what is on your plate at this point of time.
So I feel so proud and feel really happy to be connected with a coach, with a leader, with a friend, for a buddy. I think if I keep on going on, so I feel really honored to have you part of MacBlogs today because you have a different mindset where I believe that lots and lots of people can take advantage in connecting with you to change their lives. So, and I would be really happy and definitely would like everyone in my circle, in my network, wherever they are around the world to connect with you so that we can create a better environment for everyone. Don't you think
Thank
so?
you very much, Mac. Thank you, and the work that you do is impacting a lot. So
Excuse
we're
me.
blessed for everything that you do.
Definitely. So, well, Mr. Samir, thank you so much for being part of MacBlocks from today onwards, and definitely we will have many more topics to discuss in future. And you are most welcome to be part of MacBlocks again and again and again, wherever you are. So, definitely, if you feel that you have something to share and express, please come forward, and we can definitely change the life or the mindset or the person's personality to make them new future leaders.
Thank you. Appreciate the offer.
So, everyone, that was Mr. Samir Geepee on MacBlocks this afternoon, sitting from UAE. So, if you want to connect with him, please go and connect with him in Dubai. And if you need any connection, I mean, any information about him, you can contact MacBlogs. MacBlogs is the person who connects everyone around the world. So, if you haven't subscribed or shared or liked MacBlogs, please go ahead and do that so that you can definitely connect with awesome people like Mr. Samir and other people around the world. So MacBlocks takes a great privilege and honor to connect the world and make it a better place to be. Thank you, Mr. Samir. I wish you all the best for your future goals and endeavors. As you said, there are no goals, but at least you're enjoying the process. So let everyone enjoy the process to live in the moment today rather than to worry about what's coming up for tomorrow.
Thank you. Wish you the
Take
best.
care. God bless you. Keep that smile on, and we will see future leaders coming from Mr. Samir Gippy around the world. Okay, then. See you. Take care. Bye bye.